Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm waiting for that Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer like some people wait for the second coming of Jesus. In this video, I want to talk about 2 leaked scenes from Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 4 that mainly involve Jaime Lannister, as well as some speculation on when we may be finally getting that Season 8 trailer. We're a little less than 80 days away, and I'm positive they're going to be releasing something during the Super Bowl. Now, as always, these leaks are meant to be taken with a grain of salt and are more or less for purely entertainment purposes. But nonetheless, here's your sign. Before we get started, please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 1,420. Also, make sure you're subscribed. And then, this is the most important part, make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a Game of Thrones video throughout this long night. Okay, so like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I believe strongly, very strongly, that there is going to be something coming out in the next few days. Now, the main reason why I say this is because last year, in Super Bowl 2018, HBO rather, decided to release the trailer for their second season of an awesome show called Westworld. So the money is there, the budget's there, and we do know that the advertising department has kicked everything into high gear. Last year, there were roughly 103 million people watching this event with dudes wearing pads throwing around a ball, so why in the hell would they waste this opportunity to not necessarily drop a trailer, because obviously that would be about 2 to 3 minutes, and we know that would cost multi-millions of dollars, but it's gonna be something big. I don't think it's gonna be another teaser like we got with the Crypts of Winterfell and the Dragonstone War Room trailer. I think we're gonna get some actual footage from Season 8. It's just not going to be an all-out trailer. In my opinion, HBO has been taking a bunch of lessons from the Disney/Marvel marketing department. Those dudes know how to promote a fucking movie. Every single time I see a Marvel trailer, even if it's not a Marvel movie I'm interested in, the trailer alone makes me pay my $10 to go sit down and watch it. For instance, a few days before we got the actual release date for Season 8, the Game of Thrones Twitter account actually tweeted a release date for it. So we got a release date for a release date. If that doesn't scream Marvel's marketing department, then I don't know what the hell does. Just sort of keeping with that same thing of tweeting about stuff before it actually happens, in my opinion, this would be the perfect time to release a release date for the actual trailer. And as a matter of fact, if you haven't already followed the Game of Thrones Twitter account, make sure you go do so. They just tweeted today, a cryptic tweet, talking about some shit like the birds sing in the west, the birds sing in the east, ... if one knows how to listen. And then they followed it with stay up to date, #for the throne with Whispers of Westeros. And they linked to this mailing list, which if you're a fanatic and super obsessed like me and many of the fine non-fucking kneelers over at Reddit/Freefolk, you'll realize that they did this exact same thing 1 week before the Game of Thrones Season 7 trailer came out. This is the same website that actually had a bunch of the clips and promotional photos before they were ever uploaded to YouTube or promoted through sites like Entertainment Weekly. So conveniently, I've actually linked the HBO Twitter, the Game of Thrones Twitter, as well as this website to go and make sure you subscribe and follow to all of those things so you can get stayed laid. Yeah, you can get laid if you go follow those sites. Okay, just let me take a deep breath to calm down. You can go stay up to date with the latest information on Game of Thrones Season 8 by going to go follow those sites. I've also linked my Twitter down below as well. Make sure you go give me a follow. Okay, so real quick, I just want to discuss a little bit and speculate on what the contents of this trailer are going to be, and then we'll move on to the leaks. Now, the greatest aid that we can have on what we're going to see in this Game of Thrones, potentially what we're going to see in this potential Game of Thrones Season 8 Super Bowl trailer, is the Season 2 trailer for Westworld that was released last year. Now, that trailer was about 1 minute and 29 seconds, and if I remember correctly, it had one of my favorite songs of all time playing in the background. Let's have a toast for the douchebags. Let's have a toast for the assholes. Let's have a toast for the scumbags. Every one of them that I know. Okay, now that was not the official trailer for Season 2. It was a mix of actual footage and then just a beautiful ballad that was played by Ramin Djawadi, who's actually the music composer for Game of Thrones, as well as Westworld. If I'm not mistaken, he does a bunch of shows for HBO. The song that he was covering was by Dragon Energy himself, Kanye West. I'm not really sure if a hip-hop song really fits the theme with Game of Thrones, but if it's drawn out like that and played by Ramin Djawadi, I'm pretty sure he could compose anything and make it sound Game of Thrones related. Real quick, you guys down below in the comment section, let me know what song you think, or what song would fit best for Game of Thrones Season 8 if they do in fact decide to go this route. If my memory serves me correctly, they actually did something similar for this back in Game of Thrones Season 6 with a song by Gary Jules, and it was called Mad World. That trailer for Season 6 was beautiful. I really do hope they do something similar to this for Season 8. My pick for the song would of course be something like The Man Who Sold the World, and maybe it's sort of focused on the Night King. Maybe we see something like long drawn out shots of the North, and then the Night King arrives to Winterfell just as the song goes. A piano version of that song would be fucking epic. And I know David Bowie did the original, but I want the Nirvana version to be the song they use for the trailer. And just as that hypothetical Super Bowl Game of Thrones Season 8 teaser picks up, the music gets louder and we're shown montage clips of the battle for Winterfell, the living versus the dead. Dragons flying and wolves roaring. I feel like I could hypothesize about this for hours. But on a serious note, that minute-and-a-half trailer that we got last year for Westworld Season 2 actually contained a bunch of clips all throughout the season. Now, there's only 6 episodes of the final season of Game of Thrones, so I think anything we get shown in these teasers are not going to be spread out through the season. They're not going to be how previous seasons of Game of Thrones were. They have been locked tight, and I would not be surprised if, just like with Avengers End Game, we only get to see clips from maybe the first episode, maybe even the first 15 minutes. We do know that everything's going to be happening breakneck speed, and if we're picking up right where we left off in Game of Thrones Season 7, well, holy shit, we're at the epitome of some of the greatest changes coming for Westeros. So even if they only showed 15 minutes, or the first 15 minutes rather, it would still be action-packed. Well, you guys let me know what you think down below if we're going to be getting a trailer during the Super Bowl, and also make sure you go sign up for that newsletter so that you can stay up to date on the latest Season 8 news. And now on to the leaks, which is probably why 90% of you clicked on this video in the first place. Now, these leaked scenes, air quotations there, were sent to me through the DMs on Twitter, speaking of which you can go follow me at Sir_Hunts. But this person states that in Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 4, there is a scene in which Jaime begins running towards the last spot he saw Brienne. He's clearly exhausted as the battle has been raging on for the better part of an episode. The camera then pans across the battlefield as Jaime passes by what was left of the Super Wolf Pack. Ghost is nowhere to be seen, but Nymeria is clearly wounded and still fighting. At this point in the episode, Viserion and Rhaegal have been destroyed. Jaime then spots the back of Brienne's head and begins to pick up speed. Let me just backtrack for a second. Obviously, Viserion died in Game of Thrones Season 7. There's going to be idiots who down in the comment section, oh, the leak's fake, this guy didn't even know Viserion's dead. No, he means that Viserion has died, and along with Rhaegal, Viserion is being rode by the Night King. So at this point in the episode, the Night King's dragon has been destroyed. Not the Night King, though. So picking back up, Jaime then spots the back of Brienne's head and begins picking up speed. Just then, a wight jumps on his back and Jaime begins panicking. He attempts to smash the wight with his dragon glass prosthesis, but fails. Just as Jaime falls to the ground, Nymeria runs up and slings the wight off of his back, allowing Jaime to escape. Jaime then continues to move forward towards Brienne as the battle rages on all alongside him. Jon can be seen leading a charge and makes eye contact with Jaime. Just then, Brienne turns around to face Jaime, and it's revealed that she has been turned into a wight. The special effects are gruesome, as Brienne appears to have her face chewed off partially. Jaime then realizes what he must do and begins to shed a single tear, and everything starts to move in slow motion. The Rains of Castamere begins playing as Jaime and Brienne engage in what looks like a last waltz/tango. Jaime is successful in the end, but clearly is broken. I don't know about y'all, but I actually kind of enjoyed that. I feel like I don't really need to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. These leaks are to be taken with a grain of salt, and this one, just like the rest of them, are probably horseshit, but their purpose is to entertain us throughout the long night, and also to sort of open up our eyes for all the different possibilities for stuff that we may see in Game of Thrones Season 8. So with that in mind, I 100% think that there is a possibility of Jaime having to kill a white version of Brienne. It would sort of pay homage to back in season, I think it was 3, when the two of them fell in love on their journey, and Brienne was tasked with taking Jaime to his father Tywin, when instead she ended up killing the monster that was Jaime Lannister. After he lost his hand, he's been a completely different person. So if Brienne loses herself and becomes a completely different person, Jaime having to kill her in the end is pretty damn poetic. And we're getting pretty short on time here, so let's go ahead and jump into the second part of this leak, the second scene rather. During this scene in Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 4, it's made clear that Jon and Jaime have bonded over the battle at Winterfell. It was extremely long and hard fought, and the two of them saved each other's lives multiple times. They begin having a conversation about what's to happen after the battle for King's Landing. Jaime says that he would rather be beheaded than put in a cell and forced to rot, and then he jokingly remarks that your brother Robb did this and I was able to escape, so perhaps death and being beheaded is the best choice to rid yourself of a Lannister. Jon laughs about this, but then mentions how the wall needs honorable men like Jaime, and that everyone deserves a second chance. Jon ends the conversation stating that House Stark will not forget what you have done for the realm, and he further mentions that if it had not been for Jaime's heroicy, then Sansa would surely be dead. Just as the two of them shake hands, Daenerys enters the tent and asks, "Shall we begin?" Right after that, two Dothraki enter the tent and place Jaime in chains. Now the rest of the leak just gets overly ridiculous, stating that Jaime ends up becoming Lord Commander of the Night Watch of all things, and that the child that he has with Cersei ends up being born. Cersei dies, but that child becomes a ward of Jon Snow and Daenerys. Yeah, I know, ridiculous, right? Either way, the first part of the leak I thoroughly enjoyed. It would be extremely heartbreaking and gut-wrenching to have to watch Jaime Lannister kill a wight version of the true love of his life. Now, obviously, it would be just as heartbreaking to get to watch him kill a wight version of Cersei, but I feel like that would actually be pleasurable for us, and the whole thing about that is that would mean that the Night King has to destroy Winterfell completely, make it all the way to King's Landing, and then somehow get past their defenses, then make it to the Red Keep in order to kill Cersei. I think this scenario, or this leaked scene, or whatever the hell you want to call it, with Brienne becoming a wight, or maybe even Jaime becoming a wight, or one of them dying in the other one's arms, makes way more sense because both of them are going to be in the battle, and Jaime told us in Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 7, that he's headed to the north to go and aid Jon Snow and Daenerys, and really all of the Seven Realms in their fight between the living versus the dead. I'm pretty sure him and Brienne are going to be arriving to Winterfell at the exact same time, so that would put both of them in the gaze of danger. Quick side note before we get out of here, I actually follow Lena Headey, the actress who portrays Cersei Lannister on screen, on Instagram, and she actually posted this clip of her running in slow-mo in something that looked very similar to the zombie that ran at her in Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 7. Now, in the actual post, she says, "Thank you to a company called Hireworks." Now, I wasn't really sure what the hell that was, so I had to look it up. Now, it could be two different things. One of them, there's a company here, I think it's located in Texas, that's actually sort of like a staffing agency. The other one, which I think has a headquarter office outside of London, actually specializes in delivering super high-powered technical equipment, and have even given cameras to Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. But this company actually provides this specialized equipment and an actual workspace to edit feature films. So this is interesting. This could be one of Lena's many projects, but it's way more fun to pretend that they were filming something that they wanted super tight security on for Game of Thrones Season 8. Alright, and with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please slap a like on this video. The like goal is going to be 1,420. Also, make sure you're subscribed, and then, most important part, make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a Game of Thrones video throughout this long night. Super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. And also, a super thank you to every single person watching this video right now. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews. Baby, I got a plan. Run away as fast as you can.